Imagine a world where suffering is not just a misfortune but a profound necessity. For Dostoevsky, this is not mere speculation. It is the heart of existence. Fyodor Dostoevsky, a titan of Russian literature, offers a complex view on suffering. He believes suffering is a path to redemption and spiritual depth. It is not a mere obstacle to overcome. Instead, it is a vital component of the human experience. Through his works, he suggests that suffering has intrinsic value. This idea challenges conventional wisdom. It asks us to reevaluate our approach to pain and hardship. Dostoevsky sees suffering as more than a personal ordeal. It is a universal condition that connects us all. In his perspective, every person carries a unique burden. Yet, this suffering is not without purpose. It is a crucible that refines the soul. Through it, people can achieve great spiritual depth. This notion is not easily accepted. It requires an understanding of the human soul that goes beyond the surface. In Dostoevsky's view, suffering offers a lens to inspect our inner lives. It forces introspection and self-awareness. These are key elements in understanding one's own soul. Without suffering, Dostoevsky argues, such understanding might remain elusive. He sees it as a necessary trial. It is through this trial that one might find clarity and purpose. His novels often explore these themes in great depth. They depict characters who undergo intense emotional turmoil. These characters do not emerge unscathed, yet they find meaning. Dostoevsky suggests that this process is transformative. It allows individuals to confront their deepest fears and desires. Through this confrontation, there is growth and, ultimately, redemption. In the Brothers Karamazov, Dostoevsky paints a vivid picture of this transformative power. The characters in this novel grapple with profound suffering. Each experiences pain that is deeply personal yet universally relatable. For some, this suffering leads to despair. For others, it becomes a path to redemption. Take Alyosha, one of the novel's main characters. He is portrayed as a deeply spiritual person. Yet, he is not immune to suffering. Alyosha faces trials that shake his faith and challenge his beliefs. However, through these challenges, he finds a deeper understanding of compassion and love. His journey illustrates Dostoevsky's belief in the redemptive power of suffering. Ivan Karamazov, in contrast, struggles with existential questions. His suffering stems from a deep intellectual anguish. He questions the existence of God and the justice of the world. Ivan's suffering is intense and isolating, yet Dostoevsky uses his story to explore profound philosophical questions. Ivan's journey into the depths of his soul is both harrowing and enlightening. Dostoevsky's approach to suffering is not without its critics. Some argue that his view is overly pessimistic. They claim that suffering should not be glorified. For them, happiness and well-being are the ultimate goals. In this view, suffering is an unfortunate obstacle to be avoided. Dostoevsky, however, views suffering with a sense of paradox. He acknowledges its painful nature but also its potential for growth. This paradox is central to his philosophy. It challenges us to see suffering as a complex phenomenon. It is not just a negative experience, but a multifaceted one. His characters often find meaning in their suffering, despite the pain it brings. This is not to say that suffering is inherently good. Rather, it suggests that it can lead to a greater understanding of oneself and the world. Dostoevsky's work invites us to reflect on this paradox in our own lives. As we consider the nature of suffering, Dostoevsky pushes us to ask difficult questions. Is suffering essential for growth? Can it lead to a deeper understanding of life? These are questions that remain relevant today. They challenge us to reconsider our own experiences and the role of suffering in our lives. Dostoevsky's exploration of suffering is profound and multifaceted. It offers a unique perspective on the human condition. It asks us to look beyond the surface and delve into the depths of our souls. Through suffering, Dostoevsky believes we can find redemption and spiritual depth. This is not a simple or easy path. It requires courage, introspection, and a willingness to engage with life's most difficult challenges. Yet, for Dostoevsky, it is a path worth taking. Stay with us as we explore these themes further, examining the profound paradox of suffering in Dostoevsky's thought. His work continues to resonate with readers, offering insights into the nature of suffering and its place in our lives. Critics have long debated Dostoevsky's complex perspective on suffering. Some argue that his view elevates pain to an undeserved pedestal. To them, suffering is not a necessary condition for growth or wisdom. Instead, they see it as a misfortune one should strive to eliminate. These critics maintain that a life without suffering is not only desirable, but possible. They contend that happiness, not suffering, should be the primary aim of human existence. For Dostoevsky, however, the relationship between suffering and personal growth is intricately tied. He views suffering as an essential component of the human journey. Yet, this does not imply that suffering should be sought deliberately. Rather, it suggests that when suffering does occur, it can serve a greater purpose. This is where the paradox lies. Suffering, in Dostoevsky's view, is both a source of anguish and a potential catalyst for profound insight. Dostoevsky's philosophy asks us to reconsider the value we assign to comfort and pain. He challenges the notion that happiness is the sole indicator of a life well lived. Through his characters and narratives, he explores the depth of human experience. The pain and suffering depicted in his novels are not trivialized. Instead, they are presented as transformative experiences that shape the soul. One might wonder why Dostoevsky would hold such a seemingly pessimistic view. To understand this, we must consider the historical and personal context of his life. Dostoevsky lived through tumultuous times. He encountered political unrest, personal hardship, and profound existential questions. These experiences shaped his worldview and informed his literary creations. For Dostoevsky, suffering was not an abstract concept. It was a lived reality that demanded contemplation and understanding. In his exploration of suffering, Dostoevsky does not offer easy answers. He acknowledges the complexity and ambiguity inherent in human existence. His work reflects a deep engagement with the contradictions of life. He suggests that the struggle with suffering can lead to a deeper appreciation of one's own humanity. This struggle requires a willingness to confront difficult truths about oneself and the world. While some may see Dostoevsky's view as overly grim, others find it liberating. His perspective invites individuals to embrace the full spectrum of human experience. It encourages an honest examination of the self. This process is neither simple nor comfortable. It involves facing one's fears, insecurities, and limitations. Yet, for Dostoevsky, this is where true growth occurs. Through suffering, Dostoevsky believes, individuals can achieve a greater understanding of empathy and compassion. These qualities are essential for building meaningful connections with others. They also contribute to a richer and more nuanced understanding of the world. In this sense, suffering is not a solitary experience. It is a bridge that connects individuals through shared struggles and triumphs. Dostoevsky's exploration of suffering does not diminish the importance of joy and happiness. Instead, it reframes our understanding of these concepts. He suggests that true happiness is not the absence of suffering. Rather, it is the result of overcoming adversity and finding meaning in the midst of pain. This understanding of happiness is deeply rooted in the complexity of human experience. As we delve deeper into Dostoevsky's philosophical landscape, we are left with profound questions. Is suffering truly necessary for personal growth? Can it lead to a more authentic understanding of life? These questions do not have simple answers. They require reflection and introspection. They challenge us to examine our own lives and the role of suffering within them. Dostoevsky's work continues to resonate with readers across generations. His exploration of suffering offers a unique perspective on the human condition. It encourages individuals to look beyond superficial measures of success and happiness. Instead, it asks us to engage with the complexities of life and the depths of our own souls. In the face of suffering, Dostoevsky offers a vision of resilience and transformation. He invites us to see suffering not as a mere obstacle, but as an opportunity for growth. This perspective requires courage and an open heart. It asks us to embrace the uncertainties and contradictions inherent in life. In doing so, we may find a deeper sense of purpose and connection. As we conclude our exploration of Dostoevsky's profound paradox, we invite you to join us in reflecting on these themes. Consider how suffering has shaped your own life and understanding of the world. In our next essay, we will continue to delve into Dostoevsky's philosophical insights. We hope you will join us on this journey of discovery and reflection. Thank you for listening. The 19th century in Russia was a time of great turmoil and transformation, marked by social unrest and political upheaval. Feudalism was coming to an end, and industrialization was beginning to take hold. Amidst this backdrop, Fyodor Dostoevsky emerged as a voice deeply concerned with the human condition and suffering. Dostoevsky's own life was fraught with hardship. His most formative experience came in the form of a death sentence commuted at the last moment. Instead, he spent 4 years in a Siberian labor camp. This exile profoundly affected his worldview. It exposed him to the harsh realities of human suffering and the possibility of redemption through suffering. While in Siberia, Dostoevsky encountered people from all walks of life, which deepened his understanding of the human psyche. He believed that suffering was an inescapable part of the human experience. It was through this lens that he examined the moral and spiritual struggles of his characters. The socio-political landscape of his time, combined with personal trials, fueled Dostoevsky's exploration of existential themes. These themes would later resonate with readers around the world. His focus on suffering as a path to redemption sets the stage for examining his literary works, which we will explore in the next section. In Crime and Punishment, Dostoevsky delves into the mind of Raskolnikov, a former student living in poverty. Raskolnikov believes he is above conventional morality and commits murder to test his theory. However, the psychological torment that follows forces him to confront his own humanity and moral compass. This inner suffering leads to eventual redemption through confession and the acceptance of love and faith, exemplifying Dostoevsky's belief in suffering as a catalyst for moral awakening. Similarly, in The Brothers Karamazov, the character of Ivan Karamazov grapples with the existence of God and the problem of evil. His intellectual suffering is profound, leading him to question the justice of a world filled with pain and suffering. The narrative presents suffering not just as a personal ordeal, but as a profound philosophical problem. Alyosha, Ivan's brother, represents a contrasting path, choosing faith and love over doubt and despair. Through these characters, Dostoevsky highlights the existential struggle between faith and reason, and the potential for suffering to foster spiritual growth. These vivid portrayals serve not only as character studies, but also as a medium for Dostoevsky to challenge readers to reflect on their own moral beliefs. This sets the stage for comparing these themes with those of other philosophers, which we will explore next. Friedrich Nietzsche and Søren Kierkegaard provide intriguing points of comparison to Dostoevsky's views on suffering. Nietzsche perceived suffering as an essential element of human development. He introduced the idea of the Übermensch, suggesting that overcoming suffering leads to the creation of a higher self. Unlike Dostoevsky, Nietzsche saw suffering less as a spiritual trial and more as a necessary struggle for self-overcoming and authenticity. Kierkegaard, on the other hand, shared more common ground with Dostoevsky, particularly in the realm of existential Christianity. Both saw suffering as having profound spiritual significance. Kierkegaard's concept of the leap of faith involves embracing uncertainty and suffering as part of one's relationship with God. This aligns with Dostoevsky's portrayal of characters who find spiritual redemption through suffering. While Nietzsche dismissed the Christian moral framework, both Dostoevsky and Kierkegaard saw suffering as integral to understanding faith and the human condition. However, Dostoevsky's focus on communal suffering and redemption contrasts with Kierkegaard's more individualistic approach. These comparisons reveal the varied philosophical landscapes in which suffering is not merely endured, but wielded as a transformative force. As we consider criticisms of Dostoevsky's interpretations, we move into a dialogue about their broader implications. Critics of Dostoevsky often question the necessity of suffering for growth. Some contemporary philosophers argue that suffering can be an impediment rather than a catalyst for personal development. They suggest that growth can occur through positive experiences, education, and community support. Psychologist Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs theory posits that basic needs must be met before self-actualization can occur, challenging the idea that suffering is essential. Another critique comes from the perspective of modern psychology, which emphasizes resilience over suffering. Studies show that while adversity can foster resilience, excessive suffering can lead to trauma and regression. Martin Seligman, a proponent of positive psychology, argues that focusing on strengths and well-being could lead to more sustainable personal development. Furthermore, some scholars question the romanticization of suffering in Dostoevsky's works. They argue that his portrayal may overlook the paralyzing effects of pain and the potential for despair. For instance, the character of Ivan Karamazov in the Brothers Karamazov embodies the conflict between intellectual rationality and existential suffering, raising doubts about suffering's transformative power. These critiques open a dialogue about the potential pitfalls of Dostoevsky's philosophy, setting the stage for exploring his responses to such challenges in the following section. Dostoevsky might respond to criticisms of his philosophy by emphasizing the transformative power of suffering. He believed that profound personal insights often arise from the depths of affliction. In his own life, Dostoevsky experienced significant suffering, including imprisonment and exile in Siberia. These experiences shaped his understanding of the human condition. He often illustrated how suffering can lead to empathy and personal growth. Dostoevsky's characters frequently endure hardship, which becomes a catalyst for moral and spiritual awakening. In Crime and Punishment, Raskolnikov's torment over his crime eventually leads him to redemption and self-realization. Dostoevsky might argue that suffering is not an end in itself, but a means to a greater understanding of oneself and others. He viewed suffering as an essential element of the human experience that could foster compassion and connection. Critics may see this as an overly romantic notion, but Dostoevsky would likely counter that it is rooted in reality. His narratives reveal the complexity of human emotions and the potential for growth, even amidst despair. Therefore, without dismissing the pain itself, Dostoevsky would stress its potential to illuminate truth and deepen moral consciousness. This intricate relationship between suffering and moral insight will further inform our exploration of Dostoevsky's implications for ethics and morality. In today's world, suffering remains an inevitable aspect of human existence. Dostoevsky's exploration of suffering provides a framework that resonates with contemporary issues like mental health and societal pressure. He suggests that suffering can lead to self-discovery and transformation. This aligns with modern psychological views that emphasize the importance of resilience and post-traumatic growth. Suffering, rather than being solely detrimental, offers a path to deeper understanding and empathy. Dostoevsky viewed suffering as a catalyst for moral development. This idea can be applied to modern challenges by encouraging individuals to view personal struggles as opportunities for growth. For example, facing mental health issues might lead one to develop greater empathy and insight, not just for themselves but for others as well. Societal pressures, such as the pursuit of material success, often mask underlying existential questions. Dostoevsky would argue that confronting these pressures with an awareness of suffering allows for a more authentic existence. He believed that through suffering one could challenge superficial values, fostering a society that values depth over superficiality. As we consider Dostoevsky's insights, we see a timeless relevance in addressing both personal and collective struggles. This enduring relevance leads us to examine how these ideas intersect with ethical and moral considerations, which will be our focus in the next section. Dostoevsky's exploration of suffering profoundly impacts our understanding of ethics and morality. He suggests that suffering is an inevitable part of the human condition. In his works, it often serves as a crucible for personal growth and moral insight. For Dostoevsky, genuine compassion and empathy arise from recognizing the suffering of others and responding with kindness. This perspective challenges simplistic notions of justice. It emphasizes a deeper, more nuanced understanding of human dignity. Justice, in Dostoevsky's view, must account for the complexities of the human soul. It should not be purely punitive or retaliatory. Instead, it should aim to restore and rehabilitate. The inner turmoil faced by characters like Raskolnikov in Crime and Punishment illustrates this idea. He grapples with guilt and redemption, highlighting the moral significance of introspection and repentance. Moreover, Dostoevsky underscores the importance of compassion as a moral duty. It is not merely a passive sentiment but an active choice. This choice acknowledges our shared humanity and the inherent value of each individual. In a world often dominated by transactional ethics, Dostoevsky's views invite us to reconsider the basis of moral actions. They urge us to prioritize empathy and understanding. This exploration of ethics sets the stage for examining Dostoevsky's influence on contemporary thought, which will be our next focus. Dostoevsky's insights into human suffering have left an indelible mark on modern literature, psychology, and philosophy. Writers across genres draw on his exploration of the human soul's depths. His characters often grapple with internal conflict and moral dilemmas, themes that resonate in the works of contemporary authors like Haruki Murakami and J.M. Coetzee. These authors similarly delve into the complexities of the human psyche, echoing Dostoevsky's fascination with the darker aspects of existence. In psychology, Dostoevsky's profound understanding of suffering and redemption has influenced thinkers like Carl Jung and Viktor Frankl. Jung appreciated Dostoevsky's character studies, which reflected the intricate balance between light and shadow in human nature. Frankl's concept of finding meaning through suffering aligns with Dostoevsky's belief that suffering can elevate the human spirit. Philosophically, his works challenge utilitarian perspectives by emphasizing the intrinsic value of suffering in personal growth. This notion provokes ongoing debate about the role of suffering in ethical and existential discussions. As society grapples with issues of mental health and existential angst, Dostoevsky's insights remain relevant. They provoke thought about resilience and redemption in the face of adversity. In the next section, we will explore how these enduring ideas impact our personal lives, inviting reflection and application in everyday contexts. Suffering is an intrinsic part of the human experience. Dostoevsky invites us to confront this reality rather than evade it. Reflect on moments in your life where hardship seemed insurmountable. Did these experiences shape your character? They often do, yet recognizing this requires introspection. Consider Dostoevsky's insight that suffering can lead to greater empathy and understanding. This awareness can transform personal pain into a source of strength. By acknowledging and embracing suffering, one can cultivate resilience. This process involves understanding that adversity does not diminish us, but can enrich our human experience. Applying Dostoevsky's philosophy means embracing vulnerability. It involves opening oneself to the lessons that suffering provides. Moreover, it encourages fostering empathy towards others who endure their own struggles. This empathy can lead to deeper connections and a more compassionate society. To integrate these insights, practice active listening and empathy in daily interactions. When faced with personal challenges, remember the potential for growth they hold. Dostoevsky's philosophy suggests that suffering, when met with courage, can illuminate paths to personal growth and greater understanding. In our concluding section, we will delve into how Dostoevsky's insights on suffering challenge and inspire contemporary thought, urging us to reconsider our values and priorities. As we wrap up our exploration of Dostoevsky's perspective on suffering, it becomes clear that his ideas invite us to look beyond immediate discomfort. He suggests that within our trials lies the opportunity to cultivate resilience and wisdom. Dostoevsky challenges modern society to reevaluate the role of suffering, not as something to be avoided at all costs, but as a potential catalyst for profound personal transformation. This perspective encourages a shift from seeking constant comfort to embracing life's complexities with open arms and a reflective mind. In embracing this philosophy, we are reminded to consider what truly matters in our lives. Are we prioritizing fleeting pleasures, or are we nurturing our inner growth? Dostoevsky's legacy invites us to ponder this question deeply. Thank you for joining us today. In our next essay, we will explore how another great thinker addresses the concept of freedom. We look forward to having you with us again.